Hello, and thank you so much for your service, every one of you, and thank you for being here today. I apologize, I've been shuttling back and forth between hearings, so if this has already been answered, please accept my apology. Director Ray, is there any evidence of foreign financing or sources of money for any domestic violent extremist group?
I don't know that I could identify any direct evidence of foreign financing of domestic
Circumstantial
violence.
evidence?
Well, when I think of financing, certainly you have not just money, but there are sort of contributions in kind, if you will, right? So I think there have been some instances where you may have non-state actors who have offered different kinds of support to domestic violent extremists here in this country. You know, whether that's financial support, may be a terminology distinction.
Okay. Is there any evidence of any links between a foreign government and any domestic violent extremist group?
Most of there may be more I could say on this in closed session. Maybe
Okay.
that's a better way to handle that.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to Director Haynes. Xi Jinping, has his hold on power grown stronger or weaker during the last 1 year?
Thank you, Representative. In the last year, I'm not sure. He has grown in power, I would say, over the term that he served.
Let me ask you a question with regard to the Chinese government and just our growing concerns here about supply chain issues. Of all the different items or materials or products that the national security or intelligence community utilizes, is there any one item or material where you have a special concern from a supply chain perspective, whether it's related to the Chinese government or China or any other country?
Yeah, so thank you for the question, and it's obviously an important one, and we can provide to you, I think, follow-up that gives you a greater sense of how we prioritize. But I would just mention, too, I think microelectronics and semiconductors is obviously an issue that we've all been discussing a fair amount on, and the concerns we have with respect to supply chain. There is a place, obviously, where we have an advantage in many respects, but one that is slipping. And then in other areas, rare earth elements, which are critical to a variety of different important technological batteries, different energy options, weapons, et cetera.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. General Nakasone, China possesses substantial cyber attack capabilities that have been identified with localized infrastructure disruptions in different countries. For instance, following the clashes between China and India on the line of actual control, recently in the fall, there was a temporary blackout in Mumbai that folks may have associated with Chinese-based entities. Can you guarantee to us that the Chinese government cannot do to any city here what they may have done in other places on the earth?
Congressman, yesterday I had an opportunity to answer a very similar question, and let me just paraphrase that a bit. Our adversaries are getting much better. I've watched this now for well over a decade, moving from exploitation to disruption to destructive-like capabilities. And so I think this, as we take a look at our broader critical infrastructure, this is something that we are all focused on within the broader government. We can have perhaps a more fulsome discussion this afternoon if you have further questions on that.
I would. That's very important to me. Thank you. Director, Mr. Burns, I have a question about the pullout from Afghanistan. Is it our position that the United States will leave Afghanistan regardless of ground conditions on September 11th?
I think that's what the president made clear in his announcement. Yes, sir.
And have we reached any understanding with even the Taliban with regard to them fighting off the possibility of Al-Qaeda or any other similar organization from setting up shop in Afghanistan after we leave?
Under the agreement that was reached last year with the Taliban, they have an obligation to ensure that neither al-Qaeda in Afghanistan nor ISIS in Afghanistan can pose that kind of threat. With regard to ISIS in Afghanistan, the Taliban have long fought them. They're ideological rivals. And with regard to al-Qaeda, our expectation is they're going to live up to their obligation and continue to ensure that al-Qaeda can't again use Afghanistan as a platform to stage external attacks.
Thank you, sir.